The beta for Secret Lab's newest gun update is out on Patreon beta servers, and it is absolutely insane. The amount of changes Northwood has been able to pack into the update are just truly astonishing. From improvements to the game code that let it run silky smooth on almost any computer now, to overhauls for every gun and the environment, I'm going to show you everything this new update has to offer so far. And like I said, this is still a beta, and that means anything is subject to change. So with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So the biggest change in the update is, of course, the inclusion of all of the new weapons. They've had 3 entirely new guns and completely revamped or replaced the remaining 6. This includes a 44 revolver known as the Big Iron that also kind of acts as a 6 sniper rifle, a shotgun, and even an AK, which isn't fully implemented yet and has a placeholder model of the E11. The COM-18 also has replaced the USP, which means that there's now a COM-15 and a COM-18. The COM-15 has been completely renovated, and basically the idea is that the COM-15 is the weaker version and the COM-18 is the more powerful and Chad stepbrother of the two. And then you've got the Crossvec, which has replaced the P90, the FSP9, which has replaced the submachine gun, and the E11 has now been renamed to the FRSR. And these models are just absolutely, it's insane the level of detail. You can now inspect guns in the game. You press the I key and you turn around the gun and take a look at it, and it just looks, they all look so good. Now, as a side note, I'm currently working on a complete deep dive into all the new guns. We won't go over everything in here, things like their attachments, the new bullet spread mechanic, where now guns have a predetermined path of recoil instead of the random recoil that we used to have, and damage values. We'll go over that in another video. But for now, this video will get you through everything you need to know about these guns, and of course, everything else in this update. Not only has the COM-15 been remodeled and updated, but also the Logicer has been completely overhauled. It is the pinnacle of perfection in this game, and is akin to ripping a turret out of the ground and just leveling everything in your path with absurd accuracy and power. As long as you're standing still, you move around with this thing and your accuracy is as good as gone. Also, Chaos Insurgency have been completely overhauled. They now have 3 classes that spawn, similar to the NTF. The CI Rifleman spawns in with an AK and combat armor, more on that in a little bit, and the Repressor spawns with a shotgun and Big Iron, and then the Marauder spawns in with a Logicer and heavy armor. The NTF have also had a facelift. The Cadet is now the Private, the Lieutenant is now called the Sergeant, and the Commander has been renamed to Captain. The Private spawns with a Crossvec and combat armor, again, more on the new armor system later, and the Sergeant and Captain both spawn with E11s. Other than that, the loadouts for NTF haven't changed at all. Additionally, when D-Boys escape, they respawn as CI conscripts, which share the same loadout as the Rifleman, and when a Scientist escapes, they now respawn as an NTF Specialist, which shares the same loadout as the Sergeant. The Nuke Armory also no longer needs a keycard to open it up. And the armored lockers now have 2 tiers of boxes, the smaller ones which need Armory level 1 to open up, and the bigger ones which you need Armory level 2 to open. It also has a new bottom drawer that either spawns with a medkit, radio, or flashlight, and doesn't need any keycard to open it up. But we're not even close to being done yet, because we have to talk about the new armor system. The 3 types of armor in the game are the light armor, the combat armor, and the heavy armor. Each armor progressively grants a more damage resistance for the user, as well as deeper pockets for ammo, weapon, grenade, and even healing item slots, but also come at drastically higher prices to stamina usage and speed reduction. And these aren't stackable, so you can't pick up more than 1 armor at a time. Also, a new huge feature in the game is that you could just throw any item now. If you're holding an item and you press T, your character will throw it. And if the item's heavy enough, it could break glass. If you throw a keycard at a door, it can open or close the door. It's actually really cool. Speaking of which, in VT00, the plant room, you'll be able to find keycards behind the glass now, as well as 914 has a key card and GR18 has a new key card location. And then as well, the inventory system has been completely revamped. You still have the classic item wheel, except you can move items around it however you want now. You don't have to drop a weapon and pick it up or whatever to move it around the inventory. You've even got a sidebar where you see all the ammo you've got now, which is a huge improvement. Friggin' sweet. As well, the game now has a completely dope hotkey system. So if you press left control, you'll cycle through your key cards. If you press X, you'll cycle through your medical equipment. And if you've got guns, 1 and 2 are mapped to the most clockwise weapons in the item wheel. Also, the weapon management tables have been completely redesigned with a much nicer upgrade UI. And also, there's a familiar round Easter egg for those curious enough to take a peek at the open drawer in the bottom left. Also, I alluded to this before, but they did a lot of improvements under the hood of the game. The game now looks completely different lighting-wise. The graphics are a lot sleeker, and they did a lot of work in the back end, so this game runs incredibly now. Also, you don't really get those lag spikes anymore when NTF or CI spawn. And then on the subject of graphics, 079 and 049's vision have been tweaked up a little bit, and then 939's vision have been completely overhauled. While some players feel like the new 939's vision is a bit too basic, other people really like it. It's got a sleek black and white design. It's a lot less noisy, and in my opinion, it's a lot more befitting to the SCP that really only sees by hearing what's around it. Furthermore, Peanut has now also been tweaked a bit. Now whenever Peanut kills someone, their heads literally just get snapped all the way around. It's a nice little attention to detail, and even when you get killed in first person, your camera jolts all the way around. It's really cool. Oh, also now, when you die, your camera gets ragdolled. It looks friggin' awesome, and I absolutely love it. Also, there's a bunch of new effects for the new cola, the new hat when you put it on, and as well as when you get bit by doggo, the screen, all the visibility shrinks around you. It looks really cool. Now, you may have noticed we haven't talked anything about grenades in the update. That's because they're not in the update. They're just nowhere to be seen. Now, Northwood is completely revamping the grenade system, so there's definitely work they're doing on it, but right now, it's just not currently in the beta. Another thing that's not in the beta is weapon tablets. You could just go up to a weapon station whenever and upgrade your gear. And currently there's no way to recontain 079 in the beta. Also, the new micro H.I.D animation when you pick it up looks really friggin' cool. It's like you're picking up like the BFG from Doom or something. It's dope. Oh, another thing is that the Skybox on Surface has been completely revamped as well, and it looks really nice now. Another thing is that the Teslas have been completely revamped. When you walk into the room, they start charging up. They've got a beautiful new model, and as you get closer, the red light flashes on it and then will zap. And then when you're outside of the room, it's completely off. However, if 079 is in the room, the sparks will start to generate as well. Additionally, just today, Northwood decided to add 2 more bits to the gun update. 106 now has a slick leather daddy jacket, and he is absolutely dripping. And the next is that you can now access the weapon management system from Spectator mode when you press tab. You're able to customize all your guns, attachments, and everything without having to visit a station in the game anymore. All in all, this update is incredible. It's one of the biggest updates that we've had in years, in my opinion, and I think is going to completely change the game. Hey, Hubert, I'm going to make a video about every single change in the beta so far. Is there anything you want to tell anyone?
The imposter is sus.
Hi, YouTube.
All right. There we go.